Hi, friends, and welcome back. On today's Mystic Minute, I'm going to be offering a reminder. We're all looking around at the world, and things are absolutely crazy. I mean, it's just pure insanity. And if you've been on the planet as long as I have, you can honestly say that you've never seen a time that has been quite this tumultuous. Maybe there was a period in the mid to late 80s to the early 90s where things got a little bit crazy, but it was nothing compared to where we are now. I mean, this is next level. So, I wanted to kind of give this reminder that, for one, things kind of move in cycles. And so, yes, it is a lot worse than it's been in the past, but it has been bad in the past. In the 60s, late 60s, there were just, there was a war. There was the Martin Luther King thing that happened to him. I have to be careful what I say on this platform. There was a thing that happened with the Kennedys. And so we've seen these kinds of crazy times before. There were the civil rights marches and all the atrocious things that were happening to people of color. So we've seen this before. So just keep in mind that time tends to run in cycles, and the cycles will generally repeat. If you stay on the planet long enough, you're going to see some things come back around again. That is just the nature of reality. So keep that in mind as you're looking at this, that we've had these times before and we did get through it. On the other side of that was peace and prosperity and joy and love, and everything kind of just calmed back down and came back to normal. So we're going to pray and just hold that in the light, that this is one of those times. It is just a natural ebb and flow of the course of humanity. The second thing I will ask you to consider is your personal energy level and how you are expending your energy and what you're giving your attention to. I always say that if you can't control something, then you just don't want to give a whole lot of energy to it. You want to surrender that to the creator or to whatever higher power you believe in. If it's something that you can take action on, then of course take action on it. And there are times, even now, where we do need to speak up and we do need to push back. But you still want to be careful, even in doing that, that you aren't squandering your energy. When something is completely out of your control, then you don't want to spend your time worrying about it. You just want to find the space of trust that is going to eventually work out. And you just do whatever you can, even if it's a small little thing that you can do. You want to do whatever you can to help move that particular issue along, but you don't want to spend your time ranting about it. You don't want to spend your time upset. You don't want to lose your precious peace worrying about things that are beyond anything that you have the ability to influence. And so just keep that in mind, because it's easy to get up every day and see what's going on in the world and, just get all jarbled and mess up your frequency. And you simply don't want to do that. The way that you control your life is by managing your frequency, keeping your frequency high. That is being in states of love, states of faith, states of trust, and of course, maintaining your peace. When your frequency is high, you're going to attract to you like minded things. And in a time where everything is just extremely chaotic, it is even more important to make sure that your frequency is not attracting negative things to you. And that's something that we can control. We can't really control what's going on in the government. Generally speaking, of course, we can do our part towards it, but you can't really control it. You can't really flip a switch and turn it off and on according to your desires. You just simply can't. The one thing that you can control is your response to it and your frequency. And as you control your frequency, it doesn't matter what they're doing in the White House, in the government, what's going on around you in the world, your particular life experience will still unfold in a good way according to your frequency, according to your beliefs, according to the environment that you create. And if that is being lost on you, I have lots of other podcasts that talk about the nature of how we are designed as human beings. They talk about frequency, they talk about manifestation, and they talk about how your internal state really does dictate how your life unfolds. So, but here's the last piece that I will offer here. When you understand that we are here on a journey of becoming, that our life literally is unfolding according to the events that we experience and how we respond to them. Everything here is for our growth and development. Everything. And so, even in these chaotic times, a broader perspective would be to look at it and ask yourself, who am I being asked to become in the midst of these times? Am I being asked to become stronger? Am I being asked to contribute in a certain way? Am I being asked to become an activist? Am I being asked to become a server or to donate money? So all things exist for the development of us as individuals and for the development of us as a human species. So when we see war, most people, when they see that, is going to open up their heart even further. They're going to have more compassion, more of a capacity to love, more of a capacity to feel empathy. And so without war, there may not be an opportunity for us as a collective to experience that or to gain that particular understanding or knowledge. So it may get a little complicated what I'm saying here, but just know that the universe is very complex and that we exist here as a part of the collective, but we are also here trying to learn and trying to figure out how to evolve, how to move ourselves up the spiritual scale to become the highest and best version of ourselves. And the way that we do that is by experiencing things and then gaining the wisdom and the knowledge that comes from that. That is the ultimate goal of life. It is for our expansion. It is for us to become higher versions of ourselves, more like divinity. If you are a religious person, you would say more like Jesus. If you're a Christian, if you are Buddhist, you may say more like Buddha, who believed that the ultimate goal of life was really joy. If you believe in those kinds of particular faiths, I should say, then how do you actually garner that particular experience? Or how do you grow if you don't see anything? If nothing happens to you, if the world is always perfect? So keep that in mind as you're looking at these things, that all these things are happening, all these things we are experiencing for our growth and development and for our expansion. And so as you see what is going on in the White House, some people will be spawned to take action, to become activists. I just encourage that if you do that, you do that from a state of knowing the whole story, that you're not getting bent out of shape, that you're not squandering your energy, that you are completely in command of yourself as you do your activism, that you can maintain a high frequency, because you're going to be far more effective when your frequency is high, when your frequency is on the level of creation, when your frequency is on the level of love, when your frequency is on the level of service. You're going to be far more effective than if your frequency is swimming around down in the areas of anger and hatred. So just know there's something much, much larger going on here. Some events we can control when it comes to our own personal life by the decisions that we make and by the frequency that we hold. But some things are happening on a larger scale and we can't control those. We can do our part to help them along. We can hold them in the light. We can pray. But some things we just aren't going to be able to affect. And so, when that is the case, make sure you're not squandering your frequency in anger, in judgment, in hatred, in despair, in fear over things that you cannot control. And then you also want to hold the perspective that because our lives, our journey is one of unfoldment, that all these things happen so that we can grow and develop individually and collectively. So, as I said, when things aren't so great, when we see the atrocity of things happening to children on a large scale, most of us, our hearts will break open and we will decide we don't want this anymore. And so that will birth in many of us kindness or a desire to create a more perfect world. And so just know that this is the system that God has created, that you grow based on your experience and your reaction to that experience, what you gain from it, how your beliefs change. So we can't really do that unless things are happening to us. And that can be a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow. I know it was for me for a long time, but now I kind of get it. I kind of know that through life, through experience, I expand. And I have accepted that as the foundation of God's universe. So I hope that helps you. I just wanted to come on and just say, look at it, but don't get too carried away by it. There are things that you can do. You can always pray. You can always hold it in the light. Those are high frequency actions. And there are things that you can't do. And when you can't do anything, just make sure that you don't spiral down in anger and despair and fear and all those other things, because they're not going to serve you. You build a life from your state of being, and your state of being is determined by the frequency that you're holding, and the frequency that you hold is determined by your beliefs and attitudes in a particular moment. So I hope that helps. I have a podcast on frequency. If this is something that you're not real familiar with, it'll go into a little bit more detail and it might make a little more sense to you. I hope that helps. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys soon.